Welcome back to another random video at FANCON. In this video, we're going to look at the vendors in the lower market, but before that, I want to touch upon the main stage and this presentation that I didn't film. This is 5th gen is not Pokemon. I've seen them before at FANCON, and this is one of the presentations that I've already documented at FANCON, so I'll put a link so you can go and see that if you're interested. So that's the reason why I didn't bother recording it. I'm sure it's great. These guys are very funny, very talented, and at FANCON they tend to curse and get a little edgy in their presentation, and since this one's in a public mall, I'm sure it's a little bit more family friendly, a little bit toned down. I'm not entirely sure about the length, if they shorten it or anything like that, but if you want the full presentation of this panel, History of Video Game Console Wars, I'll put a link to that in the description. The first vendor in the lower market we're going to look at is Senpai Squad. Kind of a bigger brand, obviously, from your look at their booth. They got a huge online presence. Besides anime, they also have an automotive bent to them. And near the end of the video, I'll show you some cool cars that they are sponsoring or they brought along. Our next vendor is Midori Chann, also known on TikTok as Kayan. And just like in the previous video, I'm sure I'm going to nail all the pronunciations for all these different vendors and artists. Next up, we have Mimo Puffs. And next to them, we have drawings by Bay, also known as Bay Ricasta. And here we have Tsuki Art, and that includes this rack with bags they have for sale as well. And this last vendor, I unfortunately don't know their names, so if you know who they are, make sure to mention them in the comments. And here we have the Coplay Contest booth. There was definitely some people doing cosplay in general, but most of the cosplay I saw was limited to the contest itself. I'll have a video covering the contest, but for now I'll highlight this cosplayer just because they weren't in the contest, and it's a pretty good costume. It does seem to be a little bit more of a furry style costume, but still it's pretty cool looking. Now next to the cosplay contest booth were these backdrops that you could take pictures with, I assume. Didn't see them get much use, but it sounds like a cool idea and they look really nice. Now earlier in the video I mentioned Senpai Squad and how their brand is about anime and car culture. And so they had these 3 cars that I'm going to show you that they brought in. They're just cool to look at. They did a little decoration because it's near Halloween. Now I'm not going to comment too much about the cars themselves because I'm not really knowledgeable about cars. I like cool cars, but I'm not a car guy. Like, to me, this car is cool and everything, and to me it looks like an old Cyan XB, the older model that was square, but clearly that's not what it is. So I don't know, if you know more about this brand and this model and what's so interesting about it and why they might have picked it, go ahead and let me know in the comments, just shout it out. At the next car, they have this cool animatronic spider that's supposed to jump up and scare you. Not really scary to be honest with you, but it's pretty cool. The car itself is pretty cool. Again, I don't know much about the car itself. It has this cool Godzilla inspired wrap, and that seems to be the entire theme of this car, Godzilla. The car next to it also has a really cool wrap. The theme for this wrap seems to be Naruto. I have to admit, I'm not really familiar or really a big fan of Naruto. Just never got into it. But the car itself looks really cool and this presentation is really nice. It's got Naruto mixed with the Day of the Dead kind of theme, which is pretty cool. And speaking of cool wraps, I'm gonna wrap up this video. Well, whatever. I'll have some more content covering the FANCON, so hope you come back. And until the next random video, take care.